Dun, 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 dun.
For those of you who have followed this channel, specifically in the recent past, and in specific regards to my music-related coverage, I'm sure you're aware of this, but I could speak to everybody in case you're not familiar. I have a special place in my heart for not only metal music, it's a favorite genre of mine, and a particular staple when it comes to my music showcased videos on this channel, but European metal specifically. I guess you could say I'm open to European music, period, but the typical genre I tend to favor, and most of the tracks in my playlist happen to be within the hard rock metal scene. It's really interesting to me, though, to see, and we got plenty of talented American groups here. Of course, I've showcased many on this channel, but the artists in Europe really captivate my attention. And we've got some familiarity with this one, even though this is in many ways a fresh listen. It is also European in nature, but I'm not exactly the most familiar with Mortemia. Of course, I'm open to learning about more European groups out there that might not necessarily be on my playlist just yet, and I've certainly had many suggestions in previous coverage. I'm definitely taking into consideration in regard to future coverage on this channel, new music listens. I'm always game, by the way, to music for me, I've spoken to this in the past, it's a favored art form. I cover a pretty wide pool of entertainment on this channel, most definitely within the visual space, but music for me is a first passion, in many ways a first love, and it's been an art form that I've been wanting to showcase for a long time, and I've definitely made headway in the last couple of months in bringing that more as a mainstay here. And I can't wait to bring on another new group, and again, like I said, I'm considering your suggestions down below, but Mortemia came up on my feed, and it's not a group I'd ever heard of before. I believe it's a one-man show, actually, this group formed in 2009, and they have a more gothic nature to their music. Of course, that entices me immediately, but the reason I came upon them, I mean, the track might be familiar to many people, in that this is a cover, I believe, to, and I'm going to probably massacre the pronunciation of its name, but Roiksop? Sorry if I am. I'm sure I am in that case. But it's the track, What Else Is There? I believe it's probably pretty prominently known. So I was looking in terms of not only the lyrics, but the interpretations from some listeners on what exactly was being stated by the track. And there's a lot of attention given in the interpretation of what the artist was trying to convey in his message and narrative. Of course, I'm sure that would attract attention from many people. Maybe you're like, oh, I know that song. In this case, but you might not know Mortemia. Fresh listen in regard to not only the song, but the artist as well. But it's not 100% fresh. There is some familiarity, in particular given the talent on this track. Not just Mortemia, but there's a special guest. And she's appeared on this channel before for some of her other creative ventures. Zora. You might know that name if you're familiar with European metal, or more specifically Gothic metal. She is the leading vocalist for Blackbriar, who I've showcased before once. I'm more than eager to do it again. When I came upon them, I mean, again, you might not be familiar with, I'm just speaking from my understanding of my friends group. Most people, when I consider the music I listen to, they have no clue who I'm talking about. But Blackbriar is a Gothic metal group that's been around for many years, in fact. Got really popular, in fact, on their music videos. I mean, they've certainly had a wide pool of views coming in, and they definitely should get more attention. They are a very talented metal group, especially not only the European scene, but metal in general. They have a real symphonic vibe to them. Their tracks in particular have a real mythic background and interpretation. They're really fascinating to me, but Zora of vocals, and I've heard many, talented female vocalists in regard to the rock scene. Hers is very specific in terms of who I remember. Her range is magical. It's very siren-like, in fact, when you listen to her. She lulls you in sort of this transfixing captivation that once you start, you're like, I got to finish the song, and I got to hear it again and again and again, just because it's such a beautiful voice. She's a very talented lady. I mean, God-given talent right there. And she's on this track. She's going to be a featured guest here. I can't wait to hear her. I can't wait to spotlight, of course, more music, especially from the European scene, and build my roster of groups. And my European selection is quickly building. So I'm going to go ahead and cue this up. We're going to watch the official videos, I understand, together. And I also will have the lyrics pulled up, typical of my music reactions. If you're curious on following the message of a song and what the song is saying from a lyrical standpoint, I will have those featured in the video. I'll superimpose them later, but they'll be available for your convenience to view as we proceed for the track if you so wish. All right. Let me cue this up. What else is there? Here we go. Can't wait to hear Zora again. I'm waiting for more Blackbriar stuff, and this is a nice treat. Even though I'm a bit late in covering this, it aired, I believe, about 2 months ago. So apologies for my lateness. It's a smooth intro. Softer beat. I like it.
It's me and that
That's smooth. Fluid inflection. That's a really nice background too. And again, this is a one-man show, I believe, on the part of Mortemia. It's really good. You can hear those background. I told you she's got quite a range. It's really impressive. Although this song, I would say her her voice isn't more of a bass level. It's fine though. Wherever it's placed, it's just enticing, mesmeric. Beautiful nature scenes, by the way, to captivate your attention if you like that type of visualizer. There's a lot of visualizers too that become a part of European groups. I wonder if that's a typical for Mortemia that has that screamer background. Subtle tambourine, nice. I don't often hear that. That's Zora. It's a much more subtle song, but I really like it. She looks absolutely stunning too for a visualizer. I won't lie, I have a soft spot again for Europeans. European women specifically. I'm like, oh, it's the accents. They just bring you in. And I might have a slight crush, to be honest. I'm not beyond admitting that. Just like a siren, you know, the idea and myth that's like, oh, it's a luring voice. That's how I feel with Zora. Album is good. A little bit softer. We still got some time, I guess, rolling. Oh, that's an interesting name for, is it the album? I'm assuming it's the album. Although I did acquire the track on my iTunes, on my phone. I did notice it was like a one-off when I pulled it up and I downloaded it. Is that a part of the major album, or? Well, I guess in thinking back on it, when I was looking for the track, it because I tend to buy the music in advance as well. And there's on part of May tracks I want to cover, there's this long waiting period of me actually getting to the point of covering it and then listening. Is this part of like a larger collection? It says sessions, so I'm assuming it's plural. I love that name though. The Pandemonium Sessions. I mean, not only is the illustration really pretty, but I'm assuming maybe this was made, well, maybe it was maybe like in the midst of COVID. It just took a while to come out. But we're sort of kind of, you know, still phasing out of that. It's such a creative name though, isn't it? Right? This idea of a chaotic surrounding, but maybe it's the track itself that communicates this, but the Pandemonium Sessions. There's like this feeling of a fulfilling result. Like there's a restoration and a growth in that, just based on the way it's phrased for me. It's such a creative title. I like it. If you're not familiar with Blackbriar, again, that's Zora's group. I wonder if she's doing like a bunch of one-offs, like with other groups. Well, I'm sure, you know, Blackbriar, they're working on new tracks. I'm sure that's happening in the background. You know, it takes a while to develop new music. But she is doing, I did notice this, at least on their page or their channel, someone from the band posted that she's apparently doing a crossover with another European artist, D'Artagnan. I might have that name wrong. I don't have it pulled up, but I'll reference it here in the video. Of course, I'll cover that. I didn't see I don't think the track was out yet, but at least it was advertised, I think, a little while ago. I mean, that's when I think they posted the photo. Maybe she's doing this chain of, like, one-off collaborations of groups. I mean, maybe not necessarily a one-off, but I mean, like, you know, single collabs. I mean, they've done this before. I mean, you know, Zora, like you say, Blackbriar more broadly, teamed up with Uli Parhonen from Snow White Blood, a German vocalist, I believe. If you never heard Snow White Blood, they're very talented too. That's in fact how I came upon the group, was through their collaboration of Blackbriar from Snow White and Rose Red. Beautiful track and beautiful video if you've not seen it. I love not only European music, but European music videos, or even just, I would say this is more like a visualizer. They're just so elegant and serene. I mean, I just love them. I mean, not just the songs themselves, but the videos are just so captivating. And this is a much more, I would say, it's, if you're not familiar with Blackbriar, they tend to do a bit of a mix of genre in the metal scene. I mean, many groups do. They have softer songs. They also have, you know, harder songs. I'd say it ranges from, let's say, trying to think of maybe one of their softer ballads, You're Haunting Me, or yeah, that's actually a good example. You're Haunting Me, to what's one of their more intense ones? Ready to Kill is a good example. I mean, although that's like, they don't often scream, but that one they do. That's such a good song, and the video's a lot of fun too. I'd Rather Burn. Let Me In. That's a good example. Another favorite of mine. I love that one. I tend to prefer like the harsher stuff, but for the most part of what I've listened to from Blackbriar, there has not been a track where I've been like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And it's in large part to Zora. I mean, the entire group is talented. I even have fun, you know, watching some of their live performances online. They've got, you know, people, I guess, in Europe. I don't think they've toured in the U.S., but like a bunch of Europe citizens happen to publish their videos on YouTube. You know, when they go to a concert, they record some footage, and those are even fun to watch. This is a good tease, I think, for the sort of, it's definitely more on the softer side from what Blackbriar covers in regard to their range, but it's an enticing tease if you're not familiar. I would definitely say this is along the lines, and it's a great first impression for you. And even Zora's voice, I mean, she can get much higher. You can hear that in the background vocalizations, couldn't you? It's subtle. Blackbriar, let's say, I mean, she can really elevate her pitch. Deadly Diminuendo, great example. Until Eternity, there's many more I'm probably forgetting at the moment, but Zora can really climb in regard to her inflection if she so chooses, and it's just, it's so natural. The flow of this, or of her voice in particular, is natural. Like, everything just feels so even here. It's just, it's such a pleasant stream of sound. It's just beautiful to listen to. The message itself in regard to like the lyrics, you know, as I was considering it, again, it seems a song as I've just kind of pulled away from what I've looked at from its original inception on part of Roykstop. Again, I might mispronouncing that name. Based on the level of interpretations I found on one side in regard to the lyrics, this seems to have more of an abstract and poetic vision. I tend to love music like that, stuff that's a little more ambiguous, but you can interpret it how you so choose. I think it's a very creative piece. And again, I haven't listened to the original tune yet, but for Zora, I mean, the key is great. It has a very ominous feel to it, and the way her voice comes in at certain points, there's more of like a faint whisper in the background. This is a really good testament to, I think, Zora's talents at a base level in regard to her voice. Again, there's subtle points where she can go, but it's, I would say it's much more grounded than where in comparison Blackbriar has gone occasionally with their music. But it's just a beautiful song. Elegant. Beautiful visualizer. Almost, again, like you're watching a stage performance, in fact. Like you're just watching her sing. And that's enticing enough. Like I said, I do watching visualizers like this, I'm like, oh, Zora, you're beautiful. It's just, I mean, she's beautiful too, but it's just that voice. It's like heaven-like in her pitch and her talent. Just beautiful. I love recognizing or showcasing her on this channel, if you can't tell, obviously, but largely I'm part of Blackbriar because I'm just such a fan. But hearing some of her other endeavors of other artists, she's such a talented vocalist. I love listening to her. Maybe this is a first impression for you of Zora. If so, I'm sure you could agree with me. But let me know your thoughts down below, whatever angle you come from. You might be a long-time Blackbriar / Zora Coke fan, and I'd love to hear again what perception you have of this track. Perhaps you didn't know about this cover like me. You know, it was sort of a fresh notice on your feed when you're like, oh, just type in maybe Blackbriar one day and suddenly it pops up with Zora Coke and part of Mortemia, and you're like, I haven't heard about this yet. But you know, whatever, like I said, whatever angle you come from, feel free to chime in down below, as well as your overall opinion on the cover itself and the video, whatever you want to say. I'd love to hear your feedback. Going forward, I mean, I'll definitely try and keep an eye on Mortemia. That's a beautiful, and like I said, I believe that he's a one-man show in regard to his music. Very talented mixture of sound, by the way. I mean, a good tapestry of instruments, and everything just, for me, again, it's like a serene stream in its flow. Loved it. If there's any like new stuff, I'll keep an eye. You know, I'd be definitely open to covering that in the future. Or maybe some of you know Zora's, of course, a Blackbriar. You know, we'll see in the future whenever something new comes around. And that cover with, I believe, I don't know if it's a cover, but that collaboration she's doing with D'Artagnan, I think is his name. But going forward, if you, like I said, I've covered Blackbriar previously. I hope we get something new from him so I can cover them again, or something from Zora, maybe that collaboration. But I am going to be, and I've been making notice of this in my past couple music-related coverage videos, I'm starting a channel with a goal of release as of January 1st of the new year, 2023. I'm starting production on it very soon. I'm actually like really close to it. I've been saying that for a while, but I'm getting there. It's going to be basically a music-related channel that's tied to this one. These two channels are interlinked. I mean, this one's much more broader in its range of what I cover and feature, you know, beyond music, but this is more themed around first impression listens. Symphonies and Small Talk is a channel I'm launching as of the new year, and that channel is going to allow me to expand my vision to artists I'm very familiar with, and tunes I think, you know, maybe I say this in part, my ambition is driven by the fact that nobody in my circle, other than perhaps what I bring up online, knows the artists I listen to. Like, I bring up, you know, Blackbriar or Zora Coke by name, and they're, you know, my friends are like, who? And granted, again, small social circle, but nobody knows, and it drives me crazy. It's like, how? It's not just Blackbriar, it's pretty much all my music for the most part. Symphonies and Small Talk is going to allow me to showcase music I'm very familiar with, and music that I think deserves to have, whether it be on its message or its craft, songs I think deserve a better limelight, or songs that deserve more of a showcasing, perhaps for newer listeners. If you're in the mood for something new, I'd love to send you down the path of talented work, whether they be from very well-known artists, perhaps lesser-known ones, maybe, you know, in all due respects, unknown ones to you. I can tell you that in the planning stages, I have a lot of groups I'll be featuring on that channel. Again, music, you know, from the many years I've been a fan of all different sorts of groups. Blackbriar will be making a couple of appearances on that channel. Maybe some of her, well, I think it's mostly Blackbriar. I know for a fact they will appear at some point. Keep your eyes peeled if you're interested and you like my music-related coverage on here. You'll probably be enticed with that channel. Again, that's going to be launching with the goal point, at least for me, of January 1st, 2023. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Maybe you want to subscribe in, you know, in the meantime, so that when the videos start dropping, you're aware. And hopefully, again, I'm going to try my best to keep onto that date. But I am really excited to launch a channel, too, and to talk about music at a greater depth. And not only, you know, in regards to that channel, but showcasing music here. Like with Zora Coke. Very talented artist, and Mortemia as well. Beautiful first listen, really engaging cover, talented all around, and a beautiful expression of why I love European metal. Like, that is just, it's a softer song, again, from, you know, like I should say it's a softer side on the range of what Blackbriar has done. Even though this isn't Blackbriar, again, it's the front lady. I'm just saying from that bass line, it is softer in its pronouncement, but it's beautiful. It's like a more aggressive ballad with Zora's vocals. It's gorgeous. Loved it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.